Hey y'all, it's Renegade, and it's time to spill more Reali-Tea on all things Drag Race France All-Stars. As always, make sure you like and subscribe for more, as you're not going to want to miss a single drop of content this season. On this episode, we're talking our penultimate episodes, 6 and 7, were a Eurovision Dance Challenge, a roast, and a super secret twist to determine who will be left standing for this week's season finale. But before we begin, let me introduce my co-host, and you know what they say. Make sure to team up with your ugly friends so you look even more beautiful. So, here's QuackrrJack!
Bonjour!
Jack.
How are you doing, Renegade?
After this episode, I'm doing fantastic because we have our final four locked in. And I think this is actually a really great final four here. Are you still positive now, Jack, that we're at the end of the season, that things are going as good as we thought they were from start to finish?
You know, honestly, with a season of Drag Race, this is the best you can ever really truly hope for. So, yes, I am still having a very positive outlook on this season. I think we have a lot of good queens that are up for the title. I mean, we can get into it a little bit later because I know we're skipping ahead to the top four right now, but I truly believe that there are so many good queens still left in the competition. So I could see a lot of different ways this plays out.
And we've been kind of discussing that, I think, this whole season, that while the season hasn't necessarily been the most dramatic per se, it does feel like we're kind of back in the old, like, really good seasons of talented queens, because at least the episodes don't have, those weird peaks and valleys to them where it feels like we peak in the workroom and then we get to the stage and the runway and we're just like, ugh. Like, yeah, there might be a little bit of, story building here and there. We're mostly getting to I think, get personal stories from a lot of these girls versus the strategic interactions. But I think that's fine. That there's nothing wrong with having a season that is less on drama, more on talent, and I think that's what we got here, and I think that's why this season has been so successful to date here. And you're right, we did kind of jump ahead a little bit here. So before we discuss what's actually at stake for this week's season finale, let's kind of go back a little bit here, and we could talk about these last two episodes and the challenges and whatnot. Just because, again, wasn't too much drama, but there was a fun twist, I think, that was brought up here in episode 6 that definitely did raise the stakes here, because they did have their Eurovision Dance Challenge, which involved them splitting into pairs and then taking a different genre of music to do a France representation as if they were at Eurovision. I'm not necessarily sure how I liked this challenge, though, being so late, especially after the girl groups, just because it does feel very similar to a girl group challenge in a lot of ways, but they're not writing the choreo. They're just lip syncing. So doesn't it kind of feel like maybe the girl groups might have taken a little more effort in this?
Well, I mean, it's kind of funny when you talk about this because the last time we had a girl group challenge on this season, we weren't exactly particularly happy with the outcome, or at least I wasn't, right? I was very upset. And it's funny because that's one of the only two moments I can really think about being like, this is questionable, really to me, other than the ball. Um, that and like who won the makeover and got the choice, right, of who sent home this last week. So when we get to this Eurovision, it's like, huh. It is very girl group coded, but there are three different groups. And so it's kind of nerve wracking because when you do a challenge like this, a lot of the times it's based on groups alone. And so that means you're either the safe group, the group up for elimination, or the group who wins. And we kind of have a similar outcome. I don't want to too far ahead, but that is kind of what you look to expect on one of these kind of episodes. Now, I have no problem with this because, again, it is a performance challenge, and I think this is actually done extremely well. I think every girl group had the chance to be, you know, in the top or do well. I do think that each of these songs had the ability to let the girls kind of like show us what they were about.
hmm I I would agree to some degree. I do think the rock song was probably the hardest of the three, but we were talking about it as it was going on, that there were moments of it that were more like pop rock than it is actual like straight up just rock. So there was the ability, I think, for everybody to kind of come through. And we can kind of go through the groups here. We had Ellipse and Peach doing a Euro dance number, Mommy, Wata, and Moon doing a more sexy French cake number. And then we had again Cam Hugh and Missy Phoenix doing the rock number Revolution. Um, I think between the groups, I would say that Peach for me, I think was the standout out of everybody. But I
Oh,
mean,
for sure.
we're the Peach Stand Club at this point, as the comments like to say.
Well, I
So
mean, even if you consider us the Peach fan club, there was no denying which group was going to take the top and who was slaying it the most, right? Like it wasn't even
yeah,
close. There was no competition here.
it definitely seemed like it was Peach the top. Then I would say probably, even though she was playing a character, I do think Ellipse was keeping up with Peach. So yeah, they were definitely the top two. Then I would say probably Mommy, and then I do think Mommy kind of carried Moon a little bit. Like Moon, she
Yeah,
did well too, but I do think there was parts in the choreo where you could tell where she wasn't entirely in sync with Mommy. But she tried. She did it. Like she performed a lot more than I think I expected her to. And I do think at the end of the day, Mommy and Moon were a lot more cohesive than Cam and Misty because it didn't feel like Cam and Misty were really feeling either the song or just maybe vibing with each other. I don't know. There was something a little off, and maybe it was mostly Cam.
oh,
Cam kind of felt like Cam was having a rough time.
I mean, I don't want to blame it all on Cam because I truly do believe that both of them were just in a rough moment. I don't really think either of them were kind of in sync with the music as they were supposed to be either. I just felt like there was a lot of messy choreo going on here. And look, I'm not a choreo girly myself, so I can relate to a bitch who can't do the steps, but you got to go with full on confidence. But there was just no way after we watched the performances that anyone else was going to be the bottom two than this. And I feel like it goes with the fact that no matter what, they were going to do this by groups. And so if your partner sucked, you're going to be dragged down. If your partner is okay but you're amazing, you might be able to drag your guys up to the win, which I kind of feel like happened with the other two groups. I do feel like there was definitely a standout in both of those groups. I'm not saying either of their group members sucked. I just think that we saw who the top two probably of the week were going to be. Peach and Mommy had they not judged in groups, in my opinion. But I think we get the correct outcome regardless. We get the correct like a person. We get people in the top two who deserve a top two. We essentially get the people in the bottom two, which is probably the most important thing, who should be in the bottom two.
Mm, yeah, I would agree ultimately with the placements. And what is even more of a gag is that they kind of go to start the process of the judging and whatnot, and then they decide to hold up, y'all. We have a little twist, and all of a sudden, the eliminated girls come walking in, and so Magnetica, Soa, which is nice to see Soa again, Punani, and La Big Bertha join us on the stage, and that is where we find out the twist, which I thought this was probably one of the best ways to do a comeback twist, is that not only are the bottom two up for elimination, but this is also a comeback twist where they could possibly bring back one of the eliminated girls because they are choosing to save one of the bottom, basically six at this point to move forward. So if you choose to bring back a girl, that means you are eliminating both of the bottom two, which in some instances, in some cases, in some all stars, would have seemed kind of legitimate because I do feel like there's plenty of times where maybe the some girls get dragged a little bit further than they should. They both end up in the bottom two, and then you see some of the girls that might have been eliminated earlier that probably could have done better. I was kind of gagged, and I was kind of hoping, even though we do know it's a short time frame for them to come back, right? Like it's going to be very difficult for whoever this queen is that comes back, unless it's probably the girl that just got eliminated. It's going to be hard for them to really kind of make their mark in what now, one episode before the finale. But I kind of felt like if anybody was going to do it, it could have been Punani.
I have to agree. She was the only girl that had a win. She was the only girl that, kind of felt like she shouldn't have been eliminated when she was. But there's always something to be said about the girl who made it further in the competition. I don't think I would have brought back La Big Bertha, but she is that girl, right? That just had come back. And another thing is, though we did not see them perform, we got to see their runway outfits. And for this category alone, I was really looking at this and I said, you know, I could never choose to bring back Soa or Magnetica as much as I like them as like queens. I just don't think it would have been fair to anyone, especially when I think they both had such a rough track record in the competition. Now, that being said, do I agree with every single placement? No. I have my opinions. But would you consider taking out the two girls in the bottom two? Because they have better track records technically than the girls who have already been eliminated, just to do yourself a service. And plus, before you answer that, reminder that if you take out the two girls in the bottom, you still have a girl in the competition who is yet to place in the top two. So it kind of gives you like a maybe they'll both be in the bottom two next week, kind of like free out almost, right?
I mean, it would be the gag of the century, right? For someone to do that. Just because they said you get rid of two people that you know are pretty good competition that have been in the top two before and replace it with someone maybe like a Magnetica or a Soa who have two bottom twos in a row after like a safe or Magnetica just has bottoms, right? Like
Hmm.
that would be kind of shady. So
It
shady.
is, but with the win comes the power, right? They're like they tell you, they say this is your choice and we're gonna let you do it, and you're like, are they actually gonna let you do it? Would production allow this? I don't know, but since they let them write on the lipstick who they thought, I was like, I think they really gave them that chance.
They definitely
And
did. There's always a
I was
possibility.
I was gagged by this choice. I was like, oh, I want to do this so bad. Like I'm going to be honest with you. If I was in that position, I would probably have brought back Punani myself and sent both the two girls home for kind of different reasons. Only because Cam should have gone home instead of Punani, in my opinion, when Punani went home. So I kind of was like, I don't, it's no hate to Cam Hughes. She didn't make this decision. I just felt like her inconsistency constantly was like very questionable. She had lots of highs, but two bottom twos, and Punani only had one bottom two and a low. So it was kind of like, I don't know. So that's a track record that I could like, make up. And then for someone like Misty, who's in the bottom, this is technically her first time in the bottom two. She is only had one low placement so far. She has two wins in the competition. So I'd be getting rid of a badge holder. Like I'd be getting rid of a badge holder. That's pretty shady. That's a lot. But
That's
you
where like
know,
the shade comes in, right? Is do you think
yeah,
there would have been backlash had someone like Misty gone so early? Like that would have
well,
been the hard one for me to eliminate. Like Cam definitely
I
felt like
agree.
in this situation Cam needed to go. Not
I
nothing
I
against Cam,
100% agree.
but it felt like Cam was ready to go. It would have
Just
been
based
hard for
on
me, I
the
think, to eliminate Misty though.
I just think based on my perception of how the season has gone so far, I had a feeling that certain girls needed to be here and other girls did not. I don't want to make that sound like I hate anyone, but like for me, it was pretty clear like some of the girls who've already gone, we all know they probably should be gone. As much as I love Big Bertha, I don't think she was on the same level as some of the girls. Punani, I do feel like was that one sneak that should have gotten through and gone further. The only thing is, if I got rid of Misty, there would be no one left from season three.
Right.
And so that's kind of an issue in that sense. But I'm going to be honest with you. I'm in it to win it, baby. This is a competition to me. I know this is a show. I know that this is affecting real people. I know this is like going to be my friends or whatever, and I'm doing them dirty. But I wasn't the one that did them dirty. They got to blame it on production and them for giving me that choice. I'm like, I might ruin that relationship with them, but I got to put myself first because
I
there's
want to
money on
say
the line this
something
time.
very shady right now, Jack. And I
Okay.
think you would agree with me on this too. if, let's just say whatever reason the teams ended up differently, and Misty ended up in the top with Peach here,
Yeah.
and we had Ellipse and in the bottom with Cam. I think you'd be bringing back one of the eliminated girls for sure.
Oh, for sure. And here's the thing. With Ellipse, I didn't even feel like both her wins are genuine, but that's my opinion, and like I'm allowed to have it. Everyone can disagree with me, but
No, I kind
also
of agree with you just because for me,
through
Ellipse feels like
this,
that girl that gets pushed a little bit, like we've kind of talked about,
definitely.
and it feels like if I'm seeing a Ginger Minge, right, that if I'm seeing that girl that feels like she's getting a little bit of push from production and they're willing to risk her being in the bottom too, oh girl, I'm taking that chance to knock her out. I am taking the chance to do it.
And let me say something else too. There's a little bit of like maliciousness there, right? When you're taking out a really strong competitor, like that immediately two of the badges out the door. Like that means there have only been four badges awarded this season instead of six at this point. That's a huge difference in like where everything ends up. And if you're the winner then, and she's gone, you will now possibly end up with only two other girls with badges, right? So that's a huge deal. Like it's an
At
instant immediate.
most, you could literally enter the finale with the possibility, if you don't eliminate another girl with a badge the next round, right? You could
Hmm.
possibly be the only person with a badge. Like,
Well, other than like mommy, right at that point, and it was like that's crazy because then you probably automatically make final two, or reception of that move is going to be hated so much. But I don't know. It's all a matter of what ifs. But I think what we need to really talk about here is this runway that had
yes.
happened because the eliminated girls came out in their runway too, which is what made it so much fun for me.
Let's talk about these Circus Couture looks because it was kind of a nice wraparound moment that we started the season out with like the Dragra Cadabra, and now we have like a circus theme. Like they're kind of feels like they're carrying it throughout the season, right? Looking at you, Big Brother 27, we still haven't seen another mastermind twist in weeks at this point, but at least, in 5 weeks, we came back around to things in Drag Race fans. So, let's talk about these looks because honestly, these are some amazing, amazing runway looks.
No
Like, I
one
think
had a
some
bad
of the
look.
best of the season. Misty's leaves a lot to be desired, I will
Misty's was a
say.
very couture, not so. It was very safe. It was very
It was the
safe, but it
weakest out
was
of everybody's for me,
simple
for
and
sure.
done well. I will give her that. I do agree. It was the girl at the bottom of my list, and
Who was at the top of
right
your list,
above
though?
her. Oh, oh, that's easy. Circus Couture was going to Peach and Mami Wada. Like it was blown out of the water by these two. Let's start with Mami Wada, for example, because we've all known Mami Wada's been killing it. This optical illusion, black and white tuxedo, ringleader juggler look is crazy. Six hands, wavy, fabric everywhere in these vertical stripes, but everything just looks so trippy. It's like the beginning of an acid trip almost. I love that she has this really good detail of the hair in the top hat and then the ribbon bow around it in red matching the juggling pins that her hands are holding that are also red. It's those details that really do get you there, right? And even the small little like cotton bally white buttons kind of thing on her outfit, it just looks so amazing and it's so much fun and it's so good. And what she did to really offset all of this is I have to talk about it. It's it's these it's this like streak through her eye where it looks like she almost has been like cut down a little bit. And it's like it really brings attention to that side of the face that's already asymmetrical because of the hair and how it's positioned as the hat and she bends her body throughout the presentation of it. So it's just giving us this illusion of like she's actually juggling, this is happening. It's just going so fast we can barely keep up.
It's giving
And
me
I
like
think
Clockwork
that's
Orange a
amazing.
little bit with the style and the makeup and whatnot. And also the really fun thing about the outfit too, I want to say, is it looks like she also incorporated like, those mirrors that like distort your body.
Mhm.
because that's exactly like what her body shape is doing with her Goro arms, and it's just so good,
Yeah,
so good.
it's this illusion kind of thing. It was circus. It was Cirque du Soleil meets like your first time at the circus when you're a little scared as a kid kind of thing. Because let's be real, the circus is kind of scary as a kid, even though it's supposed to be like all nice and stuff. You go at nighttime, it can be kind of scary, and so it was giving me life for everything. And then to the completely opposite side, we have Peach coming out as a a medium essentially. Here she is reading your fortune, and the ball is covered up. And when she reveals the crystal ball, she takes off the piece of fabric covering it, and there's Peach's actual head inside of the table underneath the cloth. Girl, Peach is now looking at you as she is the crystal ball. It looks like she's been decapitated. It looks like she's part of it. It was just such a fun and just an elevated look. Like,
How
yes,
does she
it's
even
not like a
bend her body like that? Like it feels like her back is
well,
broken here.
I think there's a lot of support probably. I think there's probably an iron bar here, especially to help her. I would hope, but if not, like congratulations on that alone, because bitch, going down the runway in heels like that would kill me.
Her legs are
Um,
like so straight too. Like there's no indication here at all that like she's
no,
contorted here. That's the amazing part, the selling part about it. I feel like.
yeah, you really can't see it. She has it perfectly laid out where, the cards on the table and the draping is just perfectly done. You can see part of the table, but it's so much of the table legs you can see that you almost believe that her head isn't really there. And it's just so good. This is what if you were going to use Circus Couture, this is a once in a lifetime kind of look. No one else is ever going to do this look, right? We know she comes out and then she has kind of on a simple outfit, but the whole thing was just her being completely just like this shock, this gag factor. And that's kind of what Peach is about. And it always keeps you on your toes because you're always expecting something, but you're never ready for what you're expecting here, right?
Can I say I wasn't expecting to really like Ellipse's look as much as I did? I thought she had probably my next favorite look after everybody else's.
I struggled with finding this, but I agree with you. Ellipse was my next pick for this. It was very close between her and Cam, but I think she really nailed this costume. Like, it's so cinched in the middle, yet so fluffy and big throughout the limbs. It was just giving so many proportions and sizes, and the hat was just ridiculous. Plus, the pins having the faces on them, her as the clown, and then she juggled it. I really do feel like if she hadn't juggled, though, I would have put it in the bottom immediately.
Oh yeah, for sure. We're like, oh girl, you better not walk out here with these pins and not juggle.
Mm. It was unacceptable if it was going to not be that. But we did get it, and I want to commend her on that. As far as the other girls, Moon kind of gave us just a red and white dress with a long train. It was, some nice things. We had the same makeup as Mommy with a cut through the eye, nice nails, love the attention to the details here in the shoes. It was nice. It just didn't stack up to the other girls. And
I thought this
Cam
was one
had,
of Moon's best looks, honestly, that she's had all season. Like this feels like one of her
I
most
agree.
elevated looks that she's had. I'd put her
And
top four. I think I'd put her
I
right
put
above Cam.
I put Cam above that just because I think Cam took a really different element of being like the bunny that gets pulled out of the hat kind of thing. And I really liked the colors that she chose to offset just these pieces of her body that wasn't covered in the fluff of the rabbit. And I really felt like that was very what's the word? Very pleasing to the eye. So I felt like her presentation of this also made me believe it more. I really enjoyed this look. It brought me with whimsy. Again, no one did a bad job
I
this week.
thought
It
her
was just
box outshone her a little bit
that is
though.
that is made me go. Cam has to be below Ellipse for sure. The box was that's that thing that we always go back to season 3 of US Drag when Shangela came out with the snowman. And it was like, but your outfit
Yeah.
doesn't look that good, girl. So, anyways, like you have a very fair point. Either way, we have a very good category here. And then the eliminated queens, I was really impressed with La Bertha's box. Like I found this to be so fun, the bearded woman thing and her fake legs and everything. It was so well done. I thought it was so much fun. I really enjoyed this look. Um, Magnetica kind of went for a really big surprise. She was kind of like the tent that then took it off and became like a leopard or cheetah or whatever. And it was really good makeup, really good outfit. It just, I don't know if it necessarily screamed circus to me as much as the other girls.
I got it. I
We
got the circus one. I liked actually the fact the dichotomy that she came out wearing what we would expect and then went a completely opposite direction. So I
it
didn't mind what she did here, but like I said, everybody did well. So
yeah, it was
hard
just
to rank some of
right. It was giving very much the first part was kind of like Jasmine Masters with the butterfly cocoon kind of thing.
these. Leave her
I was doing that
alone.
like cocoon into a butterfly thing. And I was like, I'm not sure. It went off way better than Jasmine's did, but still. I really enjoyed what Punani did here. I thought this was so smart. This checkered pattern, the yellow and blue, the showgirl with the extra like hand puppet thing where she's like the same. I thought it was really fun. I totally was here for. And Soa doing a beautiful outfit. We see who she is, like kind of like the medium and stuff, and the third eye opening. I do think though Soa and Magnetica kind of like sealed it for me with these looks that I was like, there's no way I could bring them back in the competition. I have to be honest.
I feel like if we're going based off of eliminated girls' looks, I probably would have picked Punani's. I think Punani's is my favorite out of the four. I get why you like Bertha's box, but my only issue with the box, and it's just a slight conceptual thing, and I kind of get why she did how she did it, right? But like, why are the feet in a completely opposite direction? I don't know, something about the way that the feet are on it and she's sticking out like the front of it, right? Like it would make sense if she was like, I don't know. I get that she's
She's a
like put back together
contortionist.
and she's put back upside down and whatnot. But I'm just like, it feels like they should be. I guess maybe the other way around. I don't.
I mean,
I don't
I,
know.
I think
It's just a
she's
slight
supposed
like
to be
thing.
a contortionist. I was cool with this. I thought it was so fun. This is the way that someone should have used the box, Cam. Um, maybe Cam comes out of the box further down the runway at least. Would have been more fun, or like a doom 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 doom, like the crank kind of thing, more so throughout. I don't know. I
We're
just
nit.
think
I
that
mean, ultimately, we're nitpicking on a really good
yeah,
runway because
and
this
let's be real,
was
it doesn't really
really
matter. It's
fantastic,
just these
honestly.
were very fun looks, right?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think the right decisions were made. Where ultimately Peach wins the lip sync and saves Misty out of everybody, and ultimately eliminates Cam along with the rest of the eliminated girls. The only thing I would say is that I I don't know how I feel about Nikki Doll as a musician. I don't know if I was feeling the
Oh,
song
the
that
lips.
much.
I didn't mind the lip sync song. I do think it was very clear who won here. I thought I was really nervous at first because I feel like there is that like constant love for your lips, but at the end of the day, we get the correct winner finally. Pun- not Punani, I'm sorry. Peach gets her win. She finally gets a badge. I feel like this was like justice finally been served. Like when a girl has been in the top twice, I kind of give them a badge automatically in my mind because I'm like, I feel like you just deserve a badge at some point, regardless of like if you didn't get the win in lip syncs or not. Like in my mind, you essentially have a badge if you're in the top two twice for sure.
It does feel good that Peach finally got a win. But again, as the Peach fan club, of course we're gonna say that. But I don't see how you really disagree with this decision. And I do think Peach took the fair route. I do think saving Miss Tegan was the right thing to do. So sadly, Cam Hugh is eliminated. And well, actually, before we move on, Jack, do you have any final words for Cam?
No, just keep slaying. Your runways are hot. You've grown. I appreciate what you've shown us. I do think there just needs to be more confidence there. that's the only thing with Cam that I think really held her back is that lack of confidence. And she gets in her head if she doesn't think she'll be good enough at it, she just really needs to go forward with like she is that bitch kind of feeling, that motif. Like if you're going to be on here, you need to know you are that girl. And that's the one thing I would say would really, really help her.
I do think Cam actually, for me, went kind of light years in the confidence department, but I think it pays in a lot of ways more so to be overconfident than it does to kind of be hesitant with your skills, you know? Even if you are a Joella and you think you're the Slasian queen of the world, you know, in a lot of ways, no one can tell you different. So I kind of appreciate that overconfidence more so than the kind of getting. It allows you a little, I think, not get stuck in your head a little bit more. And we did see, I do think a few moments where Cam did get stuck in her head, but I mean, she's still technically young. She has lots of time to possibly come back for a third time at some point in some other series. So who knows what we will see from Cam moving forward. But that means we have our final five. And heading into our penultimate challenge, we have the roast, or I don't really know if I would call it a roast. It didn't feel like a roast. It felt more
It didn't
like
feel like
a
a rose.
yeah, it felt more like a mixture of like the comedy challenge and then like the Despy Award challenge that they did in season seven.
That was
And
kind of supposed to be the roast.
it was
Yeah,
supposed to be the roast, but it didn't feel like a roast.
it didn't. It. I also have to feel like one thing that we need to bring up before we get into this is the fact that Ellipse chose a different lipstick with
Oh
her. Had
yeah, we could
Ellipse
talk about that.
won, she would have actually gotten rid of Misty and would have kept Cam. And I don't know how to feel about that. I really, it kind of gives me a little bit of a yikes feeling in my stomach because I'm like, so you're going to get rid of me, a girl who has only been in the bottom two once, and this was Cam's third time in the bottom two? That's
Um,
dirty to me.
it does feel like they're playing more of a friendship game though than they're playing a who actually is doing well in the competition. Because otherwise, why would Punani be on if
Well,
she wasn't friends with Cam, right?
Punani was specifically gone because she was friends with like Mommy Wada, right?
Well, yeah,
Like,
Cam. It was the same situation where Cam was saved because she was better friends with the girl who got the lipstick than she was with the girl that she was against. So, same situation here where Ellipse clearly has a season one alliance with Cam, so that's why she picked her to stay versus choosing
I
by track
don't.
record.
She said that in her explanation, she had said that she felt like Cam had more to give and she wanted it more than her. And I didn't believe that for a second. I was like, I just want you to be honest about it. Like personally, you know me, I I hate when a girl is lying to my face and I know it, and that's what it felt like to me. So I was like, oh, it gave me the ick personally, but I just thought it was interesting because no one really cared. It didn't seem to be like a big deal to the girls, and I was like, "Bitch, my ass on the line. I'm gonna need that money." Like,
I
so
mean, I think we kind of established already when Punani went home to begin with that these girls don't care about track record for
well,
whatever
when
reason.
Punani went home, there was at least a well, you were low and she was bottom two, so really it's very close. And Mommy Wada got to make the decision, and she was, you know, not even in the group with the two, right? So I kind of feel like she maybe thought, okay, the week before, she didn't do good in the snatch game. This week she didn't do good in the girls group, but maybe she felt like Punani not doing good in the talent and like kind of outshined that. I don't know, but
There's clearly something we're missing, though. I feel like ultimately, when it comes down to the personal relationships, because
yeah, I just feel like
I,
those two are very close in comparison to this decision. Like this was shady.
I mean, I mean, everything with the lips kind of feels a little shady, anyway. but I'm not gonna let my
You said it,
personal
not me.
biases come in the way here. Just because I probably would have eliminated Ellipse before this point doesn't mean that she doesn't deserve her spot here. But yeah, I don't know. I like I said, I don't think this is a cast that cares about that for whatever reason, or they're just choosing not to focus on that. And it does feel like we're missing a lot of the information in the sidelines, which is a little unfortunate, but that's kind of the trade-off that we're playing with this season versus, them maybe skimping somewhere elsewhere. I
I
don't
get it,
really know.
but I think what was great was that they get past it. They go to this mini challenge where it's everyone's favorite, like who's the weakest heel, like, and this is fun. This is always a fun challenge. I wish we would do something like this in the U.S. seasons. Pretty actually every season. Doing a parody of the weakest link is fun. Like, I don't know if anyone watched it. I used to watch it on the Game Show Network. It was fun.
Oh, I
And
used to watch it like when it was on NBC before like the Game Show Network. That's how old I am.
well, you said it, not me.
Yeah, it is a fun little stable challenge they do all the time, and I kind of wish we had something kind of similar. Like it kind of reminds me of like when they did like the Price is Right challenge, like season two. I'm like, that was stupid, but that was kind of fun. It's like
Yeah,
it's a nice little
it's a
break.
lot of fun.
But I don't know how I feel about this roast idea though, because it didn't feel like a roast.
Well, and it kind of starts off weird too because Moon essentially wins the challenge, gets the choice to then put up the lineup, and I'm so confused because she does this thing where she cares more about what the other girls want, and she doesn't really feel like she's looking out for herself. Mommy says she wants to start the show. Everyone else says they want to be in the middle somewhere. No one wants to be the last person. She says, "Well, I kind of wanted to be first or second, and I feel like if you go first, you might blow me out of the water, mommy, because you're so funny. And then if I flop, then it's gonna be really bad." But then Moon still is like, "You know what, though, mommy, you can go first, and I'll go second." And I was like, "Well, okay." So it makes me mad because I'm like, "This is your moment. Like, you're the you get the power essentially, right, to decide this thing. You could have put yourself first because that's what you wanted,
Well,
but you don't."
remember, Jack, according to season 17, the order of the roast doesn't matter. You're going to do just as well, depending on wherever you go, as you were going to do regardless. Doesn't matter if someone good is in front of you that might slightly intimidate you if you're not a comedy queen.
Girl, bye. Take that
Doesn't
shit back.
matter if you get placed at the end and you have Susie Toot right in front of you. It doesn't matter.
Girl, the girls can say one thing or not. I don't believe that shit. For me, the fact is, it does matter at the end of the day. Like, if you put someone in an uncomfortable position, they might slip up, right? They could
No, I
also
agree. It
slip
has a
up.
psychological. It's more of a psychological thing for the girls that
Yeah,
aren't comedy queens. If you're a comedy queen, I do think you're probably going to do well regardless, or if you're confident in just speaking in general, you're going to be fine. But if you have some sort of, thing with it, then where you place does really matter in a lot of ways. So I see it both
well,
ways.
well, and don't forget that the further you are in, the more likely someone has a joke that's similar to yours that will get said first, so it will get fewer laughs if you do something similar, right? So that is a moment where you have to think, is my content good enough or am I going to be fine? But anyways, Moon doesn't use this opportunity, and I'm kind of like, hmm. So she puts Ellipse last. Ellipse is like, okay, that's fine, whatever. Everyone else in the middle, mommy starting. And so it's just this weird kind of like choice of hers, and I really feel like it ends up doing her a disservice. But we get to the roast slash award show, and there aren't many roasts going on.
And the one roasts that we do get, I feel like they were constantly kind of cringy. Like, I will say, Mommy, I do think Mommy had a few jokes here and there that felt like roast jokes. It felt like Peach went there, but because of I guess maybe her nerves, or just the delivery in general. It was the worst delivery anybody had the entire night. Moon had good delivery, but it felt like she was mostly just kind of
She was wasting time.
discussing like obvious, like she was just kind she literally graduated from the school with the blatantly obvious and was just like pointing out just random things like, oh, tracker, or like, you know what I mean, like, oh, this person was in the bottom on this challenge. It was very Angina reading challenge to me,
It
where it's
was
just like, let me read your trivia page on Wikipedia.
here's the thing for me that was like the problem. The roast is kind of like the reading challenge, but like up the stakes, right? You need to make people laugh. And it felt like that didn't matter as much as just saying some outlandish things. I want to give credit to Lips though, because I do think she had some really good reads in there. And I don't know if I agree with the delivery of Peach being the worst. I just think because she had that stumble in there, it was an easy like, well, you're the only one who really stumbled on your jokes, so we know
She
we
had a
have to
couple of
go.
stumbles. It wasn't just one. It was she had a couple. She had at
I
least two or
see.
three.
Here's the problem with that though. She recovered well and her jokes were funnier than the other girls. I was like, oh god, like she was reading the girls for filth. I was like, oh, like daggers at them kind of thing. Ellipse had a few of those. Mommy had a few of those. But the thing is, and I talked to you about this, Ellipse and Misty both decided to do characters, and I'm just not a huge fan of that always, unless you're gonna really kill the character kind of thing. And what kind of got me with Ellipses is I felt like there were so many nuances of the character. There was so little time for the roasting section for her. Though she did have some decent roasts in there, there were just so few in comparison to what I expect from a roast. And so a lot of the girls had that same thing. So it was like, is this really a roast? And maybe it was like one of those, you know what, this is the Canada nice version of France roast kind of thing. Maybe that's
Right.
what we were looking at. And so we kind of end up with we know where the chips are going to fall. We know who the bottom two is going to be.
I was gonna
We
say in the
both
same
called it.
vein too, when you're speaking of Ellipse, and I maybe again this is Peach fan club, we hate Ellipse, I don't know, club, but like it did it not feel like we spent more time with Ellipse than everybody else? I wasn't actually like timing everybody, but maybe just because she was just like talking and setting up
She
her
was the
jokes for
last
a
girl
long
too.
time, it felt like we were with her for a very long time.
I
Not to
think
say that we were, but it just felt like we were with her for a
I
long
think
time.
what we're used to in roast as well is generally there are more people than just five at the end. I mean, I know we saw that on UK versus the world, but I think a lot of the times we see roast with about seven or eight usually people, and so this one felt just as long as that, but with only five people. So it kind of felt like by that point it was like it's a little dragging, and the weirdest part was like how they chose to give out the awards because even when they were like the Despy Awards or whatever for season seven, the girls who won the award came up. Here it was like if you won the award, you won the award, but it seemed like the queens got to decide who won the awards because all of a sudden someone Ellipse gave the award to the production team, and then I think who was it? I want to say uh, Misty or no, Moon gave it to herself or something, and I was like, oh, okay. And then Misty didn't have the envelope because she had put it in the mail. So I was like, wait a minute, what? Like I was so confused. I was like, are we supposed to hand out the awards or not? No one came up for like a notice of it or anything, which is fine. I just was like, it's so strange because I was like, I think maybe with the Despy Awards, people actually voted on them. So I was like, did we not want to do that? Did we not want to like get that together? Like, how did this happen? I don't know. It
It
was
felt
very
like there was
strange.
an afterthought. The awards part was the afterthought. Like it was supposed to be a roast with the awards being like the main focus, but then it turns out that like you're supposed to focus on the roast and not the actual award part. So
Yeah,
it's weird. It's a weird
it was
setup.
strange. But I mean, we get a normal outcome that I think we all kind of saw coming, right? From this, we get you know Moon and Peach in the bottom two. I think we all saw that coming. And then the shocking part was that I think we all saw that Mommy was probably going to be in the top. She did a great job. And after the critiques, I really thought Ellipse was going to be in the top two, but actually it's Misty in the top two with
Hmm.
Mommy.
Yeah, that kind of shocked me a little bit, especially considering like it felt like they've gone out of their way to maybe like push ellipse here and there, and like this felt like an opportunity where they could have done it and they didn't do it. But also, I see maybe why they need to give Misty like a redeeming arc moment before the finale, because she is a badge winner. She was just in the bottom of the episode before. So like it does kind of make sense to kind of give her a little bit of a confidence boost heading into the finale.
Yeah, I mean, she did well extremely in the first parts. She was the winner of episode one, the winner of episode three. Well, one of the winners of episode one, and one of the winners of episode three. And then, she's placed low, safe, bottom two. So, like, giving her a win, it really takes away this, like, she's just kind of coasting or doing poorly or plateauing and now it's like, oh, she's back up at the top. And so it's nice that we see that. It's just interesting because it's like, huh, now we have to see what's going to happen between these two girls. And here's where things get interesting because the bottom two is the girl who's never been in the top, multiple bottom placements, and then Peach, first time in the bottom two. Now, I don't know about you, but my first thought was immediately back to the Punani and Cam Hugh thing, and I was like, dun 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 dun. Dun. Like, I am like, in my mind, I'm like, oh no. And then they talk it up and they say, Mommy Water and Moon are besties. And I'm like, who said that? Like, I'm looking around, I was like, oh
hmm
shit. Oh
And we've
shit.
been
I'm
playing
not.
up this whole like Moon storyline this whole time, right? Where it feels like she's getting so much positive focus. It's like, oh God, is Moon going to get picked here?
I
Moon felt
know.
like she had a legitimate chance of getting to the finale without a badge.
It really did it. I was like, it's not the first time we've seen a girl get to the end without a win. It's not the first time, so it could happen. And then we get the lip sync to happen, and we're just not sure what's going to happen because here it is. Misty is in the same position that Peach was in essentially last week, where Peach saved her from the bottom two. Does Misty feel like she needs to save Peach now? Is mommy gonna choose to do even what Moon was saying about how she wants to only get to the top if it's fair? If
Yeah,
people
mommy
feel
made
like
me the most afraid. Mommy made me so afraid.
oh,
Just because
mommy is so good.
she's been playing RuPaul's best friend race this whole time. And but the thing is we don't know who her friends are, so these decisions have felt very random and out of the blue. I was very prepared for her because I mean, nobody was really giving on this lip sync, really. I'm not really sure if it was a song or if it was just maybe neither of them really wanted to win it either. I don't know. There maybe there was just a lot of stakes behind it. It wasn't a lip sync that I'm pretty much ever going to revisit. I think, but
No,
mommy felt like even though I think Misty beat her with the reveal. I think we said this when we were watching it. Misty beat her with the reveal. Uh, as far as like the timing, mommy's reveal was just better. So it felt right that mommy won it, but that's why I was so scared going into this lip sync draw. Because I'm just like, she's gonna get rid of Peach, isn't she? She's literally going to do it. She's gonna do it.
yeah, I mean, I don't think that when we were looking at it, we're like, oh no, what's gonna happen? But this lip sync was really like mommy did a better job at giving us the song. And so Mommy definitely deserves the win. And then that brings Mommy to a third badge. She is now the highest placing of the badges. She has been consistently high on every single challenge or winning, except for the snatching where she placed low, never in the bottom two. And so Mommy is really a front runner now. But she has to make this decision. She says it's really hard, and she ends up picking out the lip sync, and it's Moon. And I was like, oh my god. Like, I thought for sure Peach was gone
hmm
as soon as
I'm
they said Mommy
relieved.
was a winner. I was like, ooh.
I'm very relieved, just because I was very much so convinced at some point here that nothing against Moon again, but I
No,
do think
definitely
we need
nothing.
to take track record into play here, and I there was part of me that felt like, are we leading up to like a Moon no win coronation here? Like, is it possible?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I told you this. I just felt like Moon's package this season, though was good, I felt like it wasn't up to the All Stars level of like winner. I really felt like it was like top four, top three, top two of like a normal season at least. Like could have like she gets to the finale, so she could be the winner. I don't want to say she just automatically wins because of her package, but I do think she had a good package this season. I just don't think it was at the level that warranted her being allowed to go to the top four, in my opinion. And I think everyone's going to have different feelings on this. And obviously, we're the Peach fan club apparently. So, I, I think we all have different feelings. And so it relieved me to say that our final four is Peach, Ellipse, Misty Phoenix, and Mami Wata. And I think it is in no one's I hope and no one is taking this too harshly, but the truth of the matter is the front runner is Mami Wata.
Yeah, it's her
And it
season to
kind of
lose.
feels like, yeah, it kind of feels like from the start, this was the outcome we kind of expected, right? I think from the first episode, we were like, oh, Mommy and Misty both in the top. I think they have a good chance of getting there, like getting far. And then as the weeks progressed, once we got to like week 3 or 4, I think both of them were kind of like they're probably going to make it to the top. Like we kind of saw that coming. Ellipse has been pretty consistent. She's either been winning or been safe for the most part. Even if we don't necessarily feel like all of her wins are justified in our own critiques, she's done a very good job. She's made it this time, and I feel like Peach is kind of our wild card. She's the girl that's always giving us something different. She's always, I think, outperformed a lot of the girls in terms of the performance challenges. I don't think there's a single girl who's ever outperformed her in one of those. I think she had a very good showing in other challenges like the ball that we weren't expecting and the makeover. I think she does have those skills, but I think we always expect her to fall short there. And really, the only time she fell short was during, I guess, the quote unquote comedy challenges.
I think the thing with Peach is that her style definitely is kind of very eccentric in a certain way, and I don't know if it resonates with everybody 100%. But like, I think she's a lot of fun. I love her style, so I can't. I'm always gonna support Peach. If it's a situation here where I'm picking my top two for the season, it would be Mommy versus Peach, with Mommy obviously winning. Like I don't see a finale really that it doesn't end with a Mommy Wada win, where I feel that it's satisfying. I do think there is a way they could justify an ellipse win. I just feel like if it's gonna be a situation where I do think it's a lip sync SmackDown for the crown, if that's the case, which then it's gonna be some Jinx Monsoon riggery in a lip sync if it's like Ellipse versus Mommy and they give it to Ellipse in the end. I just can't imagine Mommy losing to Ellipse when it comes to a lip sync. Like I don't see a world where Mommy loses here.
Yeah, I can't see a world in which Mommy loses a lip sync really to anyone. But I mean, let's be correct. There are certain genres of music or certain songs that some of these girls will be able to outdo each other on. I think a lot of the poppy songs, Misty Phoenix has a good chance at. I think a lot of the ballads, Ellipse has a good chance at. I think Mommy is an all around contender for any lip sync because she's always going to give her spin on it, but I'm always going to feel connected to her. And the thing with Peach is like we have seen her do extremely well in lip syncs and do some not so well based upon the song almost. So it's kind of again, she's the wild card in that sense. So I could see so many different scenarios, but the only thing I do 100% see for certain is that Mommy has to make it to the final two and probably win the lip sync. I mean, if it was up to me, of course I'd put Peach versus Mommy Wata. And the only reason I would accept Peach winning is if she wins the lip sync. But it becomes difficult because we see these seasons where some people don't win their lip sync and they still win, and people complain about it. And then there are seasons where people clearly get mad because the girl who wins the season, who won the final lip sync, they're like, well, the other girl was robbed. And you're like, but she didn't win the lip sync. So, like, who's getting robbed here, you know?
Hmm.
And
I
I want to bring up season 16 specifically, where everyone was like, oh my god, Nymphia, like, she didn't deserve to win. Saphira should have been the winner. But I was like, there's no convincing anyone that Nymphia didn't win the final lip sync.
by like a large
Like,
margin, by like a huge
it wasn't
margin.
even close. It was
There's
crazy.
no way they could even hide it with the edit.
Oh yeah, nothing.
One thing I do want to say, because we did kind of skip over their final runway here, Jack, but we're almost
Oh
an hour
yeah.
in here, so I do want to just do like just a quick shout out here because Mami Wada on this final runway. Oh my God, she is bringing it every week. And if we're
Amazing.
deciding the winner just based off of this runway, and it's between her and Ellipse, I don't even know what you're doing here
Oh,
with this final runway. Like,
how dare you? Ellipse had the worst runway to me in this week,
it was
and
not
I
good. It's not good.
I have to
I mean,
tell
it's
you,
fine. It's okay, but I don't understand the concept. I don't understand the tennis racket concept.
no
I
one
just don't
did a
get it.
bad job. No one did a bad job, but Ellipse's whole like the thing over her, kind of like she's in the mirror or something. I was like, it's fine. The hair is way too flat for me. I just don't think she looked like a queen. I was like, this is a long live the queen, and I was like, are you the queen or are you like a queen stand-in?
She's
Because
supposed to
like,
be in the mirror. She looks like she's the fly swatter.
girl, she looked amazing in my opinion. I love that it was so structural. I really give props to that, but I just couldn't get behind this look. I was like, this just isn't enough for me at this point. And Mommy Wada at the top of this, she brings her culture. This is her final like hurrah before the finale. She's really showing us what it means for her to be a queen. I feel like she's had such a glow up from her season. I really do feel like Mommy Wada has come so far. And this was really like the like little cherry on top kind of thing. She's like, and I'm not afraid to just like really prove to you that I'm that bitch and show you who I am at the core of my drag. And I was like, she really was giving me that, and I want to give her that shout out. And I think from there we kind of see this kind of like trickle down of like we see Peach, we see kind of what she's about. She's giving us a fashion moment. It was very fun. It was, yeah, unexpected for a queen look, and she has a small reveal because she always has some kind of reveal or some kind of moment that was a little shocking, right? And so that was fun. We have
The
Misty
jeans were a
Phoenix.
nice touch. The jeans were a nice touch, I
Yes,
will say.
and the jeans into the sweater as the like little bottom of the thing and the train. It was so interesting. It was like such a different perspective that I don't think we all necessarily have. So it's always going to be something a little different. And I feel like when you look at all the elements of Peach's outfit, it's like they shouldn't work together, but it does. And I think it's just the way it's styled. There's something about it that was so satisfying. And that takes me to Misty Phoenix. She does something that's a little more predictable, but it's so well done. Like her evil queen, the thing we're not really supposed to be. I think the judges said it, like, we're not really supposed to look up to the evil queen, but they end up becoming like the most like loved character or the most interesting character that you want to know more about. And that's kind of how it was for Misty. She has this long ass train. She's bedazzled on her forehead, her chin. Like, her outfit looks great. She looks amazing. And then we have Moon, who gives us a really big slice of herself. I love the kind of like denim blue thing going on. They talked about her boots, amazing, by the way. But the thing that really kind of irked me and like kind of pissed me off the whole time looking at it were those goddamn rods sticking out the back. I had no idea. You even made the comment that they kind of
You
look like they have a
hated
wings
those
look.
rods. You
I,
hated
I
those
couldn't get over
rods.
those rods, girl. I could see them in the background when they were doing the lip sync over Mommy Wada, and I was like, I'm gonna go in there and snap those rods off because they were just pissing me off because it looked like something should be hanging from there, but they're
If
not.
if Moon wants
So,
to pitch a tent while she's on the main stage, allow her to, okay?
and then you even mentioned we loved the headpiece and the scepter, but as soon as she didn't have that in the untucked, we were like, oh, this look got better. So it just
It
felt like there
really
was
did
like,
though. It was like a weird, like two different looks. Like she either needed to like take off like the bow in the back and the tent thing, and just be like a denim Queen of the Night thing, or she needed to, I, or maybe even like maybe if like the crown and the scepter were like denim too, it would feel like it looked more. I don't know. There's just a like it. There's an extreme disconnect between like the three pieces, which are like her props, the actual outfit, and then this thing that she has on her back.
Yeah, I do still like it more than Ellipses, just because I felt Ellipses was very,
True.
it was very predictable, but it was also very like predictable and then done poorly in my mind. Because if you're going to do this whole thing in front of you, I want it to be bigger than just like a small sheet. I felt like just a small sheet, and she bedazzled the edges. And I was like, girl, I don't care. Next.
Well, Jack, I gotta say we're about at an hour here, so I think we could kind of wrap things up before Wednesday. We could kind of maybe do a deep dive into some of our favorite looks and everything for next week's. But do have to ask any last words for France All Stars before we crown our first All Star France winner in literally like 2 days as of the time this goes up here.
I am excited to see what happens if it is the battle royale. I hope all the girls give it their best. I think that France All Stars has a lot to show us where we can grow, especially in the US for our All Star seasons. I think there's a lot here that could really help inspire us. I do think that now that they've had a France All Stars, I'm excited to see what the next iteration of the France All Stars will look like, because what challenges will they keep? What challenges will they take away? Will they make adjustments how they do the system? They chose to do the lip sync format, and then they gave us this amazing twist at the end with the you can choose anyone to bring back kind of thing. I wonder what is next. Will they keep it the same? Like, it there have been kind of ups and downs in the season, but it has been so net positive. I love it. I hope France continues to keep having their seasons so we can get more France All Stars, because this was great.
Talk about a franchise I was never expecting to kind of fall in love with, and like these French queens, I need to take a trip to Europe because they are bringing it. But yeah, as always, can't wait to see how this turns out, and hopefully y'all can't either. If you made it this far, thank you again so much for listening. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and comment below with your winner pick for the season. And please don't be one of these people that are posting in the comment sections, very obviously for queens that you are clearly reading the spoilers for, to the point where you're having like comments with people, and it just very clearly feels like you know who the top two is already. So let's not do that. But let's go ahead and let's have some positive non-spoiler conversation, because that would be great. And until next time, and on behalf of my co-caster QuackrrJack, this is Renegayde signing out. Remember, keep spelling that to y'all.
Bye.
Bye.